I'm sure that we can talk about more than just crypto, Kyle, but I know you have some thoughts about what's transpired in the past couple of weeks, so take it away.
Well, I've stayed quiet on crypto all along, Joe, but I think that what we're seeing here is just the beginning of the unraveling of the whole idea that there is a better currency out there than the hegemonic positions of the world. And I think what happened at FTX, I think, is again just a harbinger of things to come. You see that there are going to be many others that file for bankruptcy. And I heard the CFTC chair talk about regulation. And one of the things that you have to think about is when you regulate something, you almost add legitimacy to what you're regulating. I think the law enforcement officials should be diving in head first to the fraud and to what's happening to U.S. investors here. But as you know, this marketplace is a marketplace of just riverboat gambling and people looking to make 50% a month and kind of move themselves off of one of the, let's say, best currencies in the world, the U.S. dollar, and whether it's a U.S. or G7 currency. There's really no room in the world for any other currency, and I know I'm going to probably endure some attacks here, but it's just the way the world works.
The future of crypto at this point, Kyle?
I mean, the question is, what is Tether? Like, what is this $66 billion behemoth that has its headquarters at a small bank in the Bahamas that's literally a hop, skip, and a jump from Sam Bankman-Fried's lairs in Albany? You go see this building. I've actually walked into this building and saw a guy eating a sandwich, and I said, "So this is where the $80 billion is?" The question is, I've spoken with the top head traders of fixed income at some of the largest securities firms in the world who tell me we've never done one trade with Deltec Bank or Tether. And if you look at their balance sheet, they say that there is repos, treasuries, this and that on their balance sheet. Now, they also own precious metals and secured loans and things like that. But if there's an $80 billion or $66 billion now institution out there trading repos and treasuries, you'd assume that someone would find them. Now, I must caveat my statement with, I didn't talk to every single dealer in the world. So maybe there's a dealer out there that will claim they do business with Tether, but I haven't been able to find one. So I just wonder why. Like, what is the purpose of a stable coin when you have G7 currencies? The only purpose of a stable coin, in my opinion, is to be able to jump outside of U.S. and let's say IRS jurisdiction and lever yourself in trade and not report your earnings. And there is no other rationale for owning a stable coin.